by his words! Apes together! What a wonderful day!
This movie is phenodural.
Oh, great.
I walked out of it and was
awesome.
like, I have to see it 7 more times.
Oh,
it's so good.
Please tell everyone then. Tell your friends.
During the edit bay visit, you talked a little bit about how
Oh, you were there
Proximus
for that
Caesar,
when we
yeah,
said
it was
stuff?
very cool. How Proximus Caesar isn't actually wrong with a lot of
Yeah.
like what he's thinking. Why
Yeah.
was it important to you to explore a villain that isn't like falling into the black and white of good and evil?
Yeah, I think that's, we've kind of evolved as an audience, to expect depth to our villains, it just makes it interesting, that there's no easy outs for Noah as a character, and he has to really consider what Proximus says to him, and he's going to take that into hopefully future movies. How is he going to be changed by what he learned from Proximus, what he learned from Raka? I think it's interesting questions there,
Definitely. And then can you talk to me a little bit about Noah and May? Because I love their dynamic and kind of what they learn from each other and how they push each other to evolve.
Yeah, we talked about before where, you start the movie thinking this is a movie about Noah, an ape named Noah, but you're really in the movie realizing this is a movie about Noah and May. It's both their movies. May is this character that's an enigma that gets unwrapped slowly all the way to the very last few minutes of the movie, where a door opens up to, I think, many more possibilities for the human species. But the core relationship between these two, what they went through together, the things they learned about each other, both good and bad, is going to be hugely important to the drama that could unfold if we're lucky enough to make more.
I really hope you do.
Me too.
And then this is like the Bronze Age for the apes. Why was that kind of the moment in their history you wanted to explore?
Yeah, I was just seeing that the next step, it opened up the opportunities for us to kind of, develop new cultures, a new visual palette of the world itself. So much time has passed. What's become of the world? The lost knowledge along the way. That sense of our own march through civilization, how we developed kingdoms and authoritarian, rulers, and it just felt like a neat flavor to add to these Apes movies as they kind of ultimately steer towards that '68 version of the Charlton Heston, coming down from the skies into this world of apes that have been living, with democracy and whole ideas about the world around them. Yeah, it seemed cool, something to play with.
And then can you talk about laying the groundwork for that original Planet of the Apes movie with like the more militaristic aspects, the hunt, and all those elements?
Yeah, it was a way for us to have a foot in both worlds of the Caesar trilogy and the '68 original. That was the goal, right? Is to be somewhere in between those two movies and kind of and draw from that same DNA, which is what the previous movies did too. So I would say that we're kind of a prequel and a sequel, you know what I mean, in a way. So hopefully fans of the original '68 version will kind of see, some echoes of where this trilogy, where this franchise ultimately ends up, you know what I mean? But yeah, it was cool stuff to play with, And
I love how we see a lot of different characters' interpretation of Caesar and kind of what his teachings were.
Yeah.
Who do you think is the true legacy of Caesar in this movie?
Raka. Raka's definitely got, I think, even if he's not quite right all the time, he really understands what Caesar stood for, what apes should aspire to become. And yeah, and Proximus has wielded Caesar's legacy as a weapon to steer other apes in a particular direction. And I think it's an interesting thing for Noah, as this kind of blank slate who doesn't know who Caesar is, to kind of interpret both these ideas of Caesar, who he was, and how he carries Caesar's torch forward, into the future. It'll be fun to play with, And there's even this little thing where, spiritually, there's a lot of connections to Caesar through Noah. He's a chimpanzee, he has, destiny gave him the same scar right here, as you see in the movie, that the same birthmark that Caesar had, which some people caught in the trailer. He's Caesar. He's not. He's there's destiny at foot here. There's something mythic about it all,
Yeah.
So even the very first frame of the movie and the last frame of the movie is, very similar, So we try to play with that kind of stuff,
I loved it. And then what inspired the Eagle Clan and their connection to the Eagles?
Yeah, it was just an idea of again, that march through civilization, echoing human our human history, how we domesticated dogs. Well, why not? Apes can domesticate eagles, and plus it looks really cool. You know.
I love it. And then, how do you think Maes maybe? Because I love that we kind of get this resentment that makes sense because humans have essentially lost at this point. How do you think her feeling about apes evolves as she gets to know them more personally?
Yeah, you can imagine her as a character, you know, learning about how apes were the cause of their downfall, which probably wasn't true. She has a certain idea of what these things are, and she's forced to, you know, accompany two very gentle, nice apes, and it changes. I think it really changes her idea of what apes are and what they're capable of, and in a way, she sees just how close they are to each other, both of them. You know what I mean? That's kind of the interesting dynamic of these movies, is that we're the same but different, and can we live together? You know, that's kind of what these Apes movies have always kind of really analyzed. You know, so. Yeah, I think they both are changed because of their experiences together, you know.
Definitely.
Hopefully for the better.
Yeah, hopefully. Can you talk to me about filming the hunt scene?
Yeah, it was difficult, fun, you know, to see those people. Like it felt like, you know, you're like, wow, we're making a Planet of the Apes movie here, guys, you know. I actually had, you know, I had a little bit different visual style for the feral humans.
Oh.
I mean, I wanted them to be naked.
I had that thought.
I wanted to. I had concept designs. I even did some makeup tests with it. It was just, we couldn't go there, you know, unfortunately. But it was pretty cool. I mean, I'm sure we'll continue to evolve on their designs as we go forward. Because, you know, feral humans, like, there's still some echo of human in there, you know, but even though they are kind of diminished, they're animals now, but there's still something in it that would make them, you know, if you see it occasionally, but they'll smear mud in certain patterns, and there's certain hierarchical things that you kind of see them as this slightly intelligent creature, you know? Yeah. So it'd be fun to keep playing with them as a different type of character in the movie, you know?
Definitely. And then was there a specific character's journey that maybe surprised you as you were making the movie?
I don't know. It all goes, you plan this stuff out so much, you know. I'll tell you a couple things. Like, I was not expecting people to fall in love with Dar, which is Noah's mother, as much. She has a very small role in the movie in a way, but every time she shows up, I love her. And Sarah Wiseman, who plays her, did a really fantastic job. And I've had multiple people who watched the movie tell me how much they love her character. And I love those things that happen where so many people have watched the movie that I've talked to, they all have different favorites, which is awesome. Some people love May, some people love Noah, some people love Proximus, you know, and some people love Raka, of course, you know. It's an easy one, I think, but that's cool. That's really great. You know, some people love Lightning, this little character. This bald ape that was playing around electricity and got a scar on the side of his face. They call him Lightning. It's cool. That's cool that people can kind of like, they're distinct enough that you can pick them out and I like that guy or that girl, you know, that's cool.
And then you've talked about how by the end, this kind of feels more like Noah and May's movie.
Yeah.
Assuming we get like a sequel or another trilogy, would you want to follow both of the characters?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. That's key.
And then one of the things that was interesting to me about Proximus Caesar is we don't really see a lot of his backstory or his origin or like how he knew about Caesar. Was that something you worked on like with Kevin or did...
Yeah, we kind of talked about these things. There's still room to explore where that goes. That's why we took some stuff out because we want to see where we go. You know what I mean? But I always saw it as he stems from. There's a deleted scene from Raka. He talks about this long ago, this split that happened, and many apes died. So there's like a fork somewhere in what was left, the remains of Caesar's world. Right? And you can imagine there's still apes out there that believed in Koba's version of things. So there are these competing ideas of where apes should go forward. And there was a split somewhere that happened where you can imagine Maurice went off to start to found this, you know, Order of Caesar, where he learned about the teachings of who he really was. And then someone else who latched onto apes together strong, you know what I mean? And all that kind of stuff. And maybe, you know, lose some of those other ideas that weren't so important. And I think that's an interesting thing for our times, you know, truth, knowledge, you know, how they're so delicate and fragile. So yeah, there's those ideas there. Well, we'll see where it all takes us, you know.
I love it. I hope we get to see so much more. This movie is fantastic. I cannot wait for more people to see it.
Oh, fantastic. I'm fingers crossed. We'll see.
Together, you will die.
No. Together. Strong.